They survive the blistering heat of the day, only to face the terror of the night. Claire Rye spins a tale titled The HellRazors.
The sun blazed like a ball of fire, its intense heat searing the enormous expanse of red earth that stretched out forever under the cloudless blue sky. The ancient arid land, baked over millions of years, a barren surface decorated with nothing but rocks and sparse brown grass. The Australian outback, unapologetically, revealed its true beauty, rugged, vast, and untamed. A battered white escort panel van rattled along the highway, its neglect obvious in every creak and groan. The road stretched out before it like a long, endless black ribbon of bitumen, disappearing into the distant curvature of the earth. On the van's side, an amateur, although very well-designed artwork, is still visible through the film of dirt. The HellRazors, 84, Raising Hell Tour. Perched over the steering wheel, vocalist Corey hummed softly to himself, lost in his own world.
This road is magic. I could drive this forever.
We have been driving it forever,
Mark replied with his usual sarcasm. Despite being an excellent bass player, he was a relentless pessimist and an asshole. Ignoring him, Corey continued.
No traffic, no lights, no speed limit. If this is the Outback, baby, sign me up.
Adam yelled from the back of the van, fanning himself with a pair of drumsticks that never seemed to leave his hands.
Fuck that. I feel like I am in a fan-forced oven back here.
Mark had no sympathy.
Quit crying, it's your turn.
Yeah, I got a handbrake shoved up my arse and you don't hear me complaining.
Andrew added from the middle of the two front seats. Corey interjected.
Hey, whatever, guys. We are on our first ever world tour. Okay, Australian tour. But it's a start and I am pumped. Let's do this.
A collective cheer filled the van.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
With a deafening roar, the van's engine seized, its metal heart halting abruptly. In an instant, it veered off the road, the tires digging into the shallow sandy escarpment, bouncing its occupants around inside.
Everyone okay?
Corey yelled. A chorus of yeses replied.
Yes.
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 Where the fuck are we?
Mark called out. The boys unfolded the map, stretching it out until it covered the entire bonnet of the van. Despite its expansive size, it featured only 2 roads and 3 small towns.
And we are?
Asked Andrew, who was more proficient at playing the guitar than navigating with a map.
Somewhere in that.
Replied Corey, pointing at the gigantic piece of paper. His voice sounded worried for the first time.
And we've got 1 beer and no food,
he added. Adam looked guilty.
No beers and no food. I drank the last one an hour ago.
Okay, so we are fucked.
Mark stated bluntly.
No shade, no water, no mercy.
Corey replied ominously. Andrew's eyes widened in realization.
That's what we should call our next album,
he announced proudly. Relying entirely on their inexperience and stupidity, the HellRazors surveyed their surroundings. 22 million square miles of nothingness. Every breath felt like inhaling flames. Moving was like walking through molten lava. The air itself seemed to shimmer with an unnatural heat, distorting reality into a nightmarish hellscape, where there was no sanctuary from the relentless onslaught of the sun. At last, when the sun was setting, they agreed to sit by their van. Corey gazed upwards.
That night sky is better than any light show I have seen.
That's good, because it is literally the only thing you can see,
Andrew replied. With no light source for hundreds of miles, the outback offered the darkest of night. A night that swallowed everything, plunging them into a sensory deprivation that could drive a person mad. Without the pinpricks of illumination in the black ink ocean of the sky, they would have drowned in the nothingness.
At least it is cooler. Can everyone shut up and sleep? Tomorrow we need to go find help,
Mark said wearily. There was no gradual rise in light or heat from the morning sun, blazing bright and hot from dawn to dusk, relentlessly toasting everything in sight. Corey was the first to speak.
Where's Mark?
I don't know. Is he taking a shit?
Adam replied, uninterested. As far as the eye could see, there was nothing. Mark was nowhere to be found.
Did that idiot go to find help?
Andrew chuckled.
Well, thank God someone was stupid enough to. At least we have a chance now,
Andrew retorted. The shade from the van offered no reprieve. Inside was an oven of death, outside not much better. Feeling cracked and brittle, the remaining HellRazors felt the rage of hunger in their bellies. Their pasty mouths craved moisture. Waiting for Mark to return with help was their only plan. As the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness spread like a shroud over the landscape. The group felt a chill crawl under their skin as night enveloped them, removing the landmarks. The silence that followed invited their imagination to take hold as they sat there, unable to see beyond an inch. Black shapes morphed in the darkness, playing tricks on their minds. Each flick of sound at the edge of their vision filled their veins with dread, as their thoughts painted the unseen void with imagined horrors. Their fear was primal, born from the instinct to fear the unknown. Without the reassuring guidance of sight, they were left vulnerable, relying on their senses to navigate a world now blanketed with uncertainty.
Hey guys, we should empty the van and sleep in there,
Corey offered. Andrew was adamant.
No way! I'm not sitting all our equipment in the dirt. My drum kit cost...
A soft gurgle sound came from the direction of Adam's voice. Andrew stared at the blackness in his direction. Closing his eyes, he tried to activate his hearing.
Adam?
He inquired. The faint scrape of something against the stony ground reached his ears, a whisper of a sound that raised more questions than it answered.
Adam?
He repeated. Corey interjected.
He's asleep, dude. Leave him be.
Sunrise. There was no escape from its fiery grasp. Seeking shelter underneath the van provided no respite. Instead, it transformed the confined space into a claustrophobic tomb of blistering heat. Time lost its meaning, stretching into an eternity of torment within the unyielding inferno of the day.
Where the fuck is Adam?
Andrew woke Corey from his sleep.
What? I don't know,
He replied in a blurry haze. Andrew felt a rush of panic.
He is gone. What the fuck is happening, man? How can you be so calm?
Corey rubbed his dry eyes.
I'm not calm. I'm fucking dying here, dude. So thirsty. Look, if they want to risk finding help, good on them. I don't care.
The world faded into a blur of searing brightness. The HellRazors, now a starved and dehydrated duo, waited for the others to return. The night was still, the warm air of the day drifting into the heavens as its frigid replacement crept silently along the ground. Mother Nature seemed to taunt her guests, cooking them by day, freezing them by night. A cruel irony. The van's roof was still hot from the day's roasting, but not being on the ground was worth tolerating the uncomfortable sting of the steel. Despite its warmth, the tin provided little comfort from the cold night air as it wrapped around them in a chilled embrace. Their weak and tired eyes struggled against the darkness. Another blind night of fear. Corey and Andrew laid side by side, the spectacular sky as their only distraction.
I feel safer up here,
Andrew whispered, knowing that the height would offer an advantage against the nocturnal predators.
Me too. But if we don't get water soon, it won't matter where we sleep,
Corey added softly. Andrew wanted to cry, but couldn't find the tears in his shriveled ducts. A sudden, piercing shriek ripped the night like an unearthly cry from a tormented soul, inhumanly loud. Andrew froze, uncontrollable fear taking an icy grip on his heart. He quietly extended his hand towards Corey's arm, a reassuring touch for survival. His fingers searched the area where Corey laid, encountering only the touch of warm steel and the unsettling feeling of a slimy residue of congealed blood. As the morning light pierced the horizon, Andrew found no solace in the daylight, only an ominous sense of dread. The sun sat threateningly in the sky, casting a harsh, unforgiving glare that seared through everything it touched. Its heat was not just uncomfortable, it was oppressive, suffocating, as if the very air itself was scorched by its relentless intensity. Andrew could do nothing but stare at the brown bloodstain smeared down the side of the van from the roof. The sight consumed him, leaving him feeling utterly hopeless and alone. As the day dragged on, hour after each painful hour, the realization dawned upon him. In this relentless furnace of a country, there was no escape, no refuge, only the unending terror of the scorching sun and murderous nights. The tiniest slither of moon provided a faint blue haze over the ground. Andrew rubbed his desiccated eyes. Finally, he could see his nighttime surroundings. If help did not arrive soon, he was certain that this long, lonely night would be his final one. Dazed and confused, he sat slumped on the ground, swaying from the thirst that swallowed his being. To climb back up onto the van required more energy than his body had to offer. His decaying brain could not think of a better plan. Andrew looked out into the night, thoughtless and defeated. A shadowy figure emerged into his line of sight. A man, maybe, walking slowly towards the van. Andrew dared not speak. A rescue was a dream he could not afford, and under these conditions, a mirage was the more plausible explanation. The figure was closer now, and decidedly more real. Mark, he thought, as his mind considered the possibility he had finally returned.
Mark?
He mumbled. As the figure came even closer, Andrew could start to make out details. A dirty mess of long blonde hair, rounded hips, heeled cowboy boots. A woman, maybe. The figure stopped a few meters from him, taking in his plight. Andrew's eyes narrowed as he took the lack of movement to focus on the specifics of his visitor. Blood-stained, tight-ripped denim jeans, leather jacket torn and tattered. A full bust covered with a ripped black t-shirt. He stared more intensely. It was a woman.
What the fuck?
He croaked. He stretched his neck to lean his head forward, focusing even more intensely. The t-shirt under the jacket looked familiar. A white skull, bright blue writing. He mumbled the words as he read them directly from the shirt.
84 Raising Hell Tour.
Andrew fell back against the car, sucking in as much air as his dry, painful lungs would allow. The woman approached closer, her unnerving stare fixed on Andrew and his vulnerable state. She was close now, close enough for Andrew to see the worrying details of her attire. Her jewelry, trinkets of human body parts worn like mini trophies. Bone around her finger, a scalp hanging from her neck, a tendon bracelet. Her appearance was like a gorgeous manifestation of death. A broad smile crept across her pretty sunburnt face. The beautiful evil smile revealing a row of discolored teeth, fragments of human flesh dangling from each crevice. The smell of corpse escaped from her mouth and sickened Andrew instantly. She licked her dirty, full lips.
I love your band,
she purred. Andrew dusted the red dirt off his jeans and gathered what was left of his will to live, slowly rising to his feet. Stumbling momentarily on his weakened legs, he composed himself. With fading strength, he flicked back his long hair and smiled through cracked lips.
Hey, babe. It's always great to meet a fan.
He winked.